Welcome back to Face the State on this Sunday morning. We continue our discussion of the governor's race. We're joined now by Republican candidate for governor, Steve Obsitnik. And Mr. Obsitnik, good to see you back here in the program.
Pleasure to always be here, Dennis.
And it's the first time we've had you on since you sort of were the surprise of the convention and you qualified for the ballot. How did that happen?
A lot of hard work, a great team, just understanding the delegates who were coming, treating them as a market and customers, and making sure that I was delivering to them what my message was. And it resonated well. They wanted something different than just a few expected politicians. They wanted a fresh voice, a pragmatic business outsider who served in the military here.
Another surprise for you, you've hit an obstacle recently. The State Elections Enforcement Commission now investigating the campaign to see if any contributions were made improperly and if there was any type of relationship with this outside organization that is campaigning on your behalf. First of all, when did you find out about the investigation?
It came into the public domain on Wednesday, and we still have not been served whatever papers or notifications. So it's just what the commission said on Wednesday.
But they're denying you the money that your campaign says you're entitled to, right?
As of yesterday, I think it's a little different. First of all, we were surprised at these investigations. As someone who served in the military and believes that duty on our country is important, it was a shock to us. And we will work with full transparency with the SEC and answer whatever questions they have along the way. What we heard yesterday from the lead attorney there is the investigations will be on a parallel path, and they're allowing us to go for the grant money now.
So you're going to be getting your money?
We're going to go through the final process with them right now. And we've been going back and forth with them, and out of 3,300 donations we gave them, I think more than anyone, there's a handful that they're scrutinizing that we'll be going back and forth and working collaboratively with them to resolve it.
And what will this money be spent on in terms of ads, staff? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've always said we will have the resources to prosecute a vigorous primary, because what the voters of Connecticut, and I've knocked 200 doors the other day, what they want is, not the distractions of different things that are thrown at candidates, but how are you going to address the cost of living here? How are you going to address the size of government? How are you going to turn the moving vans around? So we'll deploy our resources, obviously, on TV, social media, gas for the RV, etc.
If there's a snag and you don't get this money, what happens to the campaign? How does it go forward?
We will have the resources, one way or the other, to continue forward in the primary.
So private funding, or
potentially?
Let me ask you about this outside organization, Fix Connecticut,
sure.
Which is campaigning in your behalf. Some allegations have been made that perhaps you knew that this was going to be happening. When did you first learn about it, and was it ever discussed with the person who's behind it?
Learn about what exactly?
That they were doing this.
Our last filing was
that they were going to be campaigning on your behalf when you're running these ads and so forth.
August 4th, it was April 6th was our last filing. This entity didn't come into formation until, I think, April 20th. Okay, so in no way did I or my campaign coordinate with them in any way. The first thing, one of my staffers, who was a delegate, called up one day and said, I just received something in the mail from Fix CT. And I'm like, well, what's Fix CT? So I was not familiar with anything until he told me he received something in the mail from them.
It seems a lot of the Republicans are using that phrase, Fix Connecticut. A lot of your opponents are as well. How is that resonating with the voters? Do they believe the state's broken?
Absolutely. I mean, I think people just feel what's happening in Connecticut. It's kind of in people's heart and mind. 100 people a day, roughly, move out of the state. Everyone has a parent or a child who has to have left Connecticut. So what I'm focusing on, I believe your governor has to do two things: restore fiscal stability and build the jobs engine. That's why my plan to build a 5-step plan to build 300,000 jobs in Connecticut over the next 8 years is important. 5 + 3 = 8. Because since I graduated from college, this state has only created 5,600 total jobs.
We've heard from Mark Boughton and Tim Herbst have been arguing that we need someone with elective experience to be running the state. You don't have that. What's your response to that?
I would say elected experience for 40 years has taken Connecticut down a road to ruin, and it's time for a new path. And we see what happens in Massachusetts as one example. Charlie Baker, a pragmatic business outsider, Massachusetts is running circles around Connecticut. So I think it's time for a new path, someone who grew up here, understands the culture of Connecticut, served in the military here, has created high-tech jobs, and can build 300,000 jobs with the people of Connecticut to turn the moving vans around.
A columnist recently told me that he confuses the three businessmen who are running: Stefanowski, Stemmerman, and Obsitnik. When you go door to door and you meet voters, what is the difference between you and the other two men?
It's clear. I'm running against two billionaire finance people, and I'm a job builder. And what billionaire finance people do is take money from your pocket and put it into their pocket in terms of fees. When I build jobs, everyone benefits. If I buy materials for someone to build a product, and I hire people to build the product, and I sell the product, and that makes a customer's life better, everyone's pocket gets more full. So I'm running against billionaire finance people, but I'm a job builder. And I think that's what Connecticut needs now, a job builder who understands the culture of Connecticut and is going to fight to turn the moving vans around and build 300,000 jobs over the next 8 years.
At least one of your opponents wants to get rid of the income tax, I believe two do, and another one wants to cut it down to 5% and 3% and so forth. What is your plan for the income tax? Because it tends to be a hot button issue with Republican voters.
Oh, absolutely. I think we have a spending problem which we have to get around. It sounds nice to say we're going to get rid of the income tax, but all these people running never have a plan to get there. So my 5-step plan to 300,000 jobs actually talks about that. It talks day one about targeted tax reform so we can hug the customers that we have to keep here, seniors, working people, and businesses. As those targeted tax reforms come, which is only like 4% of our total revenues, we have to reform government and take $3.5 billion out of our cost structure. And as we do that, then we can reduce taxes for everyone. That's exactly what Massachusetts and Charlie Baker is doing right now.
How would you characterize these ads that are running? For instance, Bob Stefanowski says he'll get rid of the income tax. Are these candidates who say that misleading voters?
I think the voters will decide. And
well, in your opinion, are they misleading? I mean, if you say it's not feasible,
I don't see reducing it in the next 4 to 8 years. I think you can have targeted tax reforms. You can actually reduce the size of government, and then you can bring down the income tax for everyone from roughly 5.5% down to 3 to 4%. But if we do not get after the size of government, because growing government has been our jobs project for 30 years, and it does not work. So we need to use digital efforts, reform how we deliver government services, like what I've done in the private sector in delivering better DMV services and Department of Revenue services, using people, process, tools, and technology to deliver a better service to customers. And when we do that, then we can reduce taxes across the board.
Steve Obsitnik, candidate for governor, Republican. We'll see you back here in 1 month for our debate. Let's tell you about those debates. The first one will be the Democratic debate. That is going to be on August 7th at 3 o'clock. Live right here on Channel 3. The following day, the Republicans will debate, and that'll also be at 3 o'clock right here on Channel 3. August 8th, 7th and 8th. Set your DVRs already. Thanks for joining us for this segment of Face the State. We're going to be back with Rick Green, who has some analysis on the governor's race and all the races here in 2018. And I welcome your comments right now on our Facebook page, Twitter, or Instagram. You can find me at any of those 3 venues. And our flashback's coming up, too. Do you remember this old slogan, Land of the Three? It's coming up when we come back.